Inconsistent dad growing up. Now wants closeness with adult children. My parents separated when I, 31F, was 8. Brother, 26, was 4. My sister, 22, was conceived a couple of years after the separation. After he moved out, my dad, 54, was inconsistently present for the rest of our childhood occasional school pickups, and I remember spending the weekend at his apartment on 2 occasions. But no regular communication, phone calls, school involvement, or emotional presence. He didn't raise us. My mom raised us largely as a single parent with sporadic financial support from him and random quality time moments I've mentioned above. He did have a period where he wanted to spend quality time with each of us when I was 16. So he communicated the plan to take each of us out on a quality time date, and it was to happen in order oldest to youngest. Mine was the only one that happened. We went to the movies. He never followed through for the younger 2 with no explanation. I did ask him about it, and he made an excuse. My dad is now remarried with 2 young kids. Over the years, I've made the effort to have a relationship with my youngest siblings. My brother and sister not so much. Now that we're all adults, my dad wants a closer relationship and has asked for a dad and kids meeting at /my OP house / to discuss important issues. I asked my siblings how they feel about it. Both said they don't really care and don't feel they need this conversation or closeness to my dad. But they don't mind doing it if he wants to. This makes me worry I'll be the only one emotionally engaged while they remain shut down. I'm the eldest and seem to have the strongest bond with my dad. We're not terribly close, but we are in touch via text a couple times a month, and he's present for milestones, wedding, new home, baby, etc. I'm 7 weeks postpartum, and concerned I'll end up mediating a conversation my dad may not have the emotional capacity to handle. I say that because this all got started because his current wife called and expressed his desire to be closer to his kids. And I told her if he wants closeness, he needs to take accountability first. That's what prompted him to reach out to us to have this meeting. I'm worried the meeting could lead to more pain and lack of accountability rather than healing. My husband thinks I should jump at this opportunity and thinks I can handle it emotionally, but do I even want to? Should I set up this meeting? And if I do, how do I avoid being emotional mediator? This is obviously really heavy topic with a lot of history, so it's hard to include all the context, but I've done my best to summarize the key points. Too long did not read. My inconsistently present dad is sad that he doesn't have a close relationship with his adult children. He's called a family meeting to discuss and wants us to have it at my house. My siblings say they don't care. I had a baby 7 weeks ago. Do I entertain this or set a boundary? Hard pass. If dad wants a meeting, he needs to host and facilitate. I am betting your siblings see this for what it's always been, lack of effort of his part. It's a common thing. Absent parent wants to reconnect later on in life. I kind of think the ship has sailed somewhat. Kids need their parents the most when they're kids. Some half-arsed effort later on in life is too little too late. He wants you to do all the work. How do I bring up my boyfriend's drinking in a productive way? I'm looking for advice on how to start an open, non-defensive conversation with my boyfriend ////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////////// about his drinking, and how to set boundaries for myself 26F so I don't repeat old patterns. We've been together around 10 months. My boyfriend has a history of alcohol misuse. He was sober for years after seeking professional help and began drinking again before we met. This didn't feel like a relapse to me. It seemed slow and intentional, based on his belief that he had control over it. When we first started dating, he barely drank, but over the past couple of months his drinking has increased. On some nights, he'll drink a full pack or more of hard seltzers while we stay in, often to avoid having to drive. In the past, he's told me his limit was being able to drive safely and not getting drunker than that. He doesn't usually appear visibly drunk, but there have been moments that made me uneasy, including one instance after a party where he insisted he hadn't had too much to drink and said something was wrong with his eyes. My instincts told me otherwise, and I took over driving us home. He later thanked me, but I'm still unsettled because I don't think I've ever seen him that impaired before, and it worries me that he may not be fully acknowledging what was happening. Since then, I've noticed defensiveness when I've tried to check in about his drinking, which makes me hesitant to bring it up again. Once, when I mentioned how many drinks he'd had, he corrected me and seemed irritated, which made it feel like bringing it up wasn't welcome. I also come from a family with alcoholism, so I'm very aware that I subconsciously track drinking patterns. I don't want to monitor or parent my partner, but I also don't feel comfortable ignoring changes I notice. I'm trying to figure out how to talk about this honestly without sounding controlling, and how to set boundaries so I don't fall into a caretaker role. I'm looking for advice on how to bring this up in a way that invites openness rather than defensiveness. What healthy boundaries look like when you're actively trying not to monitor or parent someone's drinking, and how to create space for honest dialogue without taking on responsibility for his behavior. I care about him and want to approach this thoughtfully, but I also want to protect my own emotional well-being and not ignore patterns that feel important to me. Too long did not read. My 26F boyfriend, 29M, has a history of alcohol misuse and has been drinking more lately. I want advice on how to bring this up openly and set boundaries so I don't fall into a caretaker role. Just be aware that the partner of an addict typically ends up doing the work for the addict. Like here you are, figuring out various solutions, steps to take, to even address the topic. This is textbook. He put you and other people in immediate danger by getting behind the wheel drunk. He is a relapsing alcoholic. What's the plan? What is the outcome you are seeking? He's an addict, so you really have to decide if you want to date an addict conditionally. 28F. How do I handle a relationship where my boyfriend, 32M, shuts down conflict by shouting and threatening to leave? 28F. Have been with my boyfriend, 32M, for 1 year. He is currently going through a very stressful phase at work, and I've been trying hard to be understanding and supportive. The problem is that whenever I express even one concern, such as his lack of communication, delayed replies, or how certain behaviors hurt me, that he reacts by shouting, invalidating my feelings, and saying things like, "How can you even say this when you know what I'm going through?" He frequently calls me negative, says he has had enough, and repeatedly threatens to leave the relationship instead of addressing the issue. He tends to do things strictly according to his wishes, and when I express discomfort or disagreement, I'm told to leave rather than talk it through. No conflict ever gets resolved, because every attempt at communication turns into him shutting down the discussion or threatening to end things. This pattern leaves me feeling anxious, unstable, and unheard. I'm not trying to blame or attack him, that I'm trying to communicate how I feel, but my emotions are consistently dismissed or reframed as selfish or insensitive. How do I handle a relationship where one partner responds to conflict by shouting, controlling decisions, and threatening to leave, especially when they're under stress? Is there a healthy way to address this pattern, or what steps should someone take in this situation? Too long did not read. My boyfriend is stressed at work and responds to concerns by shouting, calling me negative, controlling decisions, and threatening to leave, so conflicts never get resolved. How should this kind of dynamic be handled? You handle this by leaving yourself. You're sitting there while this man abuses you, making you feel like you're the problem. You're not, it's him. Leave before he starts getting physical. Tell him that if he's rather leave than talk like an adult, he's free to go. Let him leave. And make sure he can't find you when he comes back. I promise that is what you need to do, for your safety. He is not a safe man. M27. Feeling extremely anxious with a partner, F23, who became too much intense in just 1 week. Me, M27, get to know this girl on December 28, 2025. I started to try to know her, F23, by Instagram. Time passes, and I really liked how we stayed all day talking about some certain subjects. It seems we had a lot in common. At that time, I was ready for a commitment relationship with her. I asked her out 2 weeks in, and she said she needed time, and I respected. She said she adored the part of me being patient with her time. We started to think in the same boat, and we finally going to meet up. But before 2 days that happened, we didn't talk anymore about anything different. I met her, I know her on a dinner date, and then she started the act, kissing me, etc., which was really incredible. After that, we didn't talk about anything besides relationship. It seems her personality just gone. Talked about everyone now knows me, her father and mother, liked me, etc., and she wanted to be in a relationship by 14 female, kids and other topics. Then I started to realize she passes the day saying, "I miss you," even though we meet each other day yes and day no. And small jokes, which I don't feel it was, couple things. 1, I'm sure I'm in love with you, and after, I don't feel confident you do as well. 2, you don't praise me a lot as you did before. And I said, what? I've been praising you whatever I could. 3. You should work out at 6 a.m. and eat sooner so I could see you more often. After my reaction, I'm just kidding. For now I have a really good motivation to go to the English course, at least on Mondays, but she didn't know I did go there because it was my day off training on my routine. Becomes too much jealous like, which girl commented you your picture in 2023? With who you know what hair Dyson is? LMAO. You don't have to be kind with no one expect me, your woman. And then yesterday 2 times missing me. I woke up and missing me again text. I feel like I was loving to meet her, and even though, she went on therapy, and started to see a big green flags, but now I think I'm knowing another person. I left a much traumatic relationship before her. I don't know if it's me or she is something near toxic, and am not being bad guy here. TD, LR, my girl becomes too much intense in a week, and we just know each other for a month. She wants everything in life, saying I'm her person, want to marry me, got kids and all of her people know me. That's burning me. This is a classic love bombing situation. Why is it so hard for people to leave brand new people who act like psychos? Why is this even a question?